Hello dear students, I hope you are doing great and everything is okay. I am Rabar Muhammad, a teacher from Cambridge International School, Capital City Branch. I am here with you today to do this checkpoint paper with you, which is paper 2 2014. But before you start doing your paper with me, please make sure you sit down in a quiet room so that nothing can make you busy and you understand the video lesson well. And now we will go to the next page. Question number 1. The diagram shows the sun and earth. We have a diagram here. The sun is in the center and the earth is round. So we have 5 sentences here. Tick the 2 correct sentences. So we need to tick only 2 of them and leave the other ones. Number 1, the sun takes 1 year to orbit the sun. It's not true. Number 2, the earth takes 1 year to orbit the sun. Yeah, tick this one because this one is true. And 3, the earth takes 24 hours to orbit the sun. This one is false, leave it. And number 4, the earth spins on its axis once every 24 hours. Yes, this one is true, tick it. And the last one is false, leave it. So number 2 is correct, tick number 2. And number 4 is also correct, tick number 4. And now let's go to the other page. Page 3, question number 2. A. Some things are living things, others have never lived. Write down each word in the correct box in the table. So we have a table here, one side of the table, living things, and the other side things that have never lived. So of course this one is very easy. You put the words in the table. First one, kangaroo, living things. Rat, an animal also, living things. Rock, things that have never lived. Sand, things that have never lived. Seaweed is a kind of plant. So living things. So now 3 of them are living things and 2 of them things that have never lived. Question B. Which of the following observations would help to identify a living thing? Tick the 2 correct answers. So 2 of them identify a living thing. 2 of them can tell us about a living thing. Okay. So here it grows. Yeah, tick it because anything that's living can grow. And number 2, it feels warm. This one is false, leave it. 3, it can get smaller, again false. And the last one, it makes young ones, true. So here the correct answers are: the first one, it grows, tick it. And the last one, it makes young ones, also correct, tick it. Page 4, question number 3. Here are some substances that are solids, liquids, or gases. So we've got some examples here, some substances: butter, chocolate, ice, orange juice, steam, water. We have a table. The first column solid, the second column liquid, and the last column gas. So of course this one is also easy. Butter is solid, is a solid. Chocolate is a solid, and ice also is a solid. Orange juice is a liquid, steam is a gas, and water is a liquid too. So this is of course the one that we did it now was question A. Okay, now we move to question B. When ice is warmed, it changes. Of course ice is solid. When you warm it up, it changes. Write down the name of the process. So the name of the process, melting. Just write down melting. C. If water was cooled to 0 degrees Celsius, it changes. We know that we can cool water to 0 degrees Celsius, so it changes. Write down the name of the process. So the name of the process is freezing. It freezes. When you cool water, it freezes. So just write down freezing. D. What will happen to water if it boils? Of course, we know that when you boil water, it evaporates. Okay, you just write down, it evaporates, or it turns into steam, or it turns into gas. All of them are correct, but you need to write down just only one answer. Next page, 5. Question number 4. Draw a line to connect the term to the correct meaning. So one side we have the terms, we have 3 terms here. The other side we have got the meaning of the terms. So the first one, producer, let's see which one is producer. We know that all food chains start with producers. So producer is usually a green plant that makes its own food. So here the meaning is the second one from the meaning. Producer, a green plant that makes its own food. Second one, predator. We know that predators hunt and kill animals, such as a lion, such as a tiger, or we have many other animals, many other examples. So here the meaning is the first one, an animal that eats another animal, and the last one, prey, an animal that is eaten. Usually preys are killed and hunted and eaten by animals such as lion or tigers. Question B, what's a consumer? Circle the correct answer. This is a kind of definition. You have to find which one is correct, which sentence tells you about the meaning of consumer. A plant, the first one, a plant that eats another plant, false. A plant that eats an animal, again false. 3, an animal that eats a plant, yes, this one is correct, so you circle this one, the third one, and the last one is also false. Page 6. Question number 5. Here is a diagram of a puppet show. We have a diagram of a puppet show, and question A, complete this sentence. The puppet makes an image called A dash on the screen. So we need to find out what do we call this image. So it's called a shadow. You just write down shadow in the blank. B, what must the girl do to the puppet to make this image smaller? So if you want to make the image on the screen smaller, we have to make some changes. So here the question is again, what must the girl do to the puppet to make this image smaller? So she must move the puppet away from the light. I'll repeat the answer. She must move the puppet away from the light. Although you can also say she must move the puppet towards the screen, also correct, but I want you to write down the first one. C. What do the audience see? So we have 2 pictures here. What do the audience see? They see the first one, so you just take the first one. Question D. What would the audience see if the screen were opaque? So the screen, we mean this one. As you see it here up in the question, the screen where you see the shadow on it. So we'll go back to the question. What would the audience see if the screen were opaque? Of course, they would see nothing. They would see nothing. Or you could say no image. Page 7, question number 6. The table shows the boiling point of some liquids. So we have a table. One side of the table we have 5 liquids, A, B, C, D, E. And here, the other side, we have the boiling points of these liquids. Question A, which liquid has the lowest melting point? So when we say lowest, means the smallest number. Which one is the smallest number? Will be the lowest boiling point. B is the right answer because it is 78. Question B, which liquid is pure water? So we know that the boiling point of pure water is 100 degrees Celsius, so the right answer is C. C is the right answer. Okay, question C. Complete the sentences about boiling and freezing. So we have two sentences here. We need to complete them. During boiling, liquid changes into a gas. During boiling, liquid changes into a gas. During freezing, liquid changes into a solid. During freezing, liquid changes into a solid. Page 8. Question number 7. Susie is growing sunflower seeds. She thinks that seeds will grow better in a bigger pot. Point A. She puts one seed into each of 4 different size pots. Point 2. She puts them in the same warm place and waters them regularly. Point 3. After 4 days, the seeds begin to grow. The last point, she measures the height of the shoot every day. What does Susie do to make it a fair test? Tick one box. So we have 4 boxes here, 4 sentences. But you need to tick only one. Number 1, measures the shoots. 2, put the pots in the same place. 3, measures each shoot on a different day. 4, uses 4 different pots. So the right answer is the second one. Put the pots in the same place so that she makes it a fair test. Next page. 9. Question number 8. Seeds are dispersed from plants so they have a better chance to grow. Here are some diagrams of fruits containing seeds. Use these examples to answer the questions. So we have 4 samples here. A, B, C, D. There are examples of fruits containing seeds. Question A. Which 2 fruits from A, B, C, or D dry to release the seeds? So we need to find 2 of them. Okay? So the answer is B and C. And question B. Which fruit A, B, C, or D is dispersed by wind? Of course, we know that any type of seed that is light or has light weight can be dispersed by wind. So which one is light here? Or which one has light weight? D. So the answer for question B is D. Question C. This diagram shows another fruit. Describe how this fruit is dispersed. This is a kind of fruit, a type of fruit. You have to give explanation, you have to describe how this fruit is dispersed. We could say this type of fruit can be dispersed by animals because they can stick to animals. I'll repeat the answer. This type of fruit can be dispersed by animals because they can stick to animals. Hello. So now we will go to the other page, page 10, question number 9. Maria is investigating what happens when indigestion tablets are added to water. 1. She measures 100 cubic centimeters of water and puts this in to a beaker. 2. She adds 1 gram of the indigestion tablet to the water. 3. She measures the change in temperature of the water. Draw a line from each measurement to the piece of equipment needed to make the measurement. So here one side we have the measurements and the other side we have the equipment. Sometimes this word equipment can be changed with other ones such as apparatus. So instead of equipment, apparatus can be used, or also equipment sometimes used. Now, first one, mass of tablet. We know that mass is usually measured by a balance. So balance is the right one. Temperature of water. We know temperature is usually measured by thermometer. And volume of water is usually measured by measuring cylinder. Next page. Question 10. Animals survive by living in food chains. Look at the food web below. So we have a food web below. We have food chains and we have also food webs. So here this is a food web. We know that a food web shows many different feeding relationships. Okay, as you see it here, we have many animals, we have many insects, we have many birds here, and the source here, the main source of food, or let's say the producer, we've got plants here. Question A. Which is the main food source for toads? The main food source for toads. So toads, this sentence means, or let's say this question means, what do toads eat? Of course, they eat predaceous insects. So you just write down predaceous insects. B. Which three animals eat seed-eating birds? So we have a bird here. It's called seed-eating birds. This kind of bird is eaten by foxes, by owls, and snakes. So we have to write down all the three animals: foxes, owls, and snakes for question B. And C, write down question C, write down one of the food chains for mice. We need to make a food chain for mice. So mice eats plants, and here the mice is eaten by foxes, by owls, and by snakes. But we have to write down only one. So for the food chain, question C, we need to write down plants, then you draw an arrow, mice, then you draw another arrow, then you write down foxes. Page 12, question number 11. A music studio is next to a quiet room in a library. Eric practices the glockenspiel in the studio. Okay. Question A. So question A. What causes the sound? So what makes the sound here? We can write down vibration or vibrations. So just this word, vibration, is enough. B. Eric makes a high-pitched sound on the glockenspiel. What does Eric do to make the pitch higher? So he can hit a smaller key to make the pitch higher. He can hit a smaller key. Question C. Sometimes the sounds are too loud in the library, and Arvinder complains. He collects data using a decibel meter and records the loudness of the sound in decibels. So we have a table. Some information some data is written here in the table. At what time is the sound from the studio is the loudest? What time is the loudest? So loudest means the highest number: 22, 24, 67, 87, 43, 22. So the highest number is 87. So this means that at 13. So you just write down 13 here. 1300. Page 13. Question D. Describe what happens to the sound level between 10 to 15. So here means from the beginning. If we go back to the table, the starting point is 10, the starting time is 10, and the ending time or the last point is 15. So if you see here, if you look at the table, you see the number gets bigger, then becomes smaller once again. So here we have to write down it gets higher or it gets louder and then softer. I'll repeat the answer. It gets louder and then softer. Question E. Ravinder suggests the wall between the library and the studio is lined with foam. Why is the foam useful? So the wall between the library and the studio is covered with foam. The question is, why is the foam useful? Because foam insulates from sounds. Because the foam insulates from sounds. Question 12. Nana puts 2 grams of chalk and 3 grams of sugar into a 13 cubic centimeter of water and stirs the mixture. She then filters the mixture. A white solid is left on the filter paper. She dries this solid and measures the mass of the solid. A. What is the white solid left on the filter paper? So here, if you look at the question, we have 2 white substances, chalk and sugar. Of course, sugar will be dissolved in water, so we'll go through the filter paper, but chalk will not be dissolved, so will be left on the filter paper. That's why the answer is chalk. B. Write down the name of the liquid that passes through the filter paper. So the liquid that's made here is a sugar solution, because sugar is dissolved in water, so a sugar solution is made. So you just write down sugar solution. And C. What is the mass of the solid that's left on the filter paper after Nara dries it? So it's only 2 grams, because as we said here, we have 2 grams of chalk. It does not increase and it does not decrease, it stays the same. That's why the amount of the white substance that's left on the filter paper is 2 grams. So of course you just write down 2. The letter G is already written here, no need to write it, you just write down 2. Question 13, sorry. Blood is pumped to and from parts of the body. A. Which 2 of these are correct for blood flow from the pump? Tick 2 boxes. So we need to tick 2 boxes only. We have 4 here, 2 of them are correct and 2 of them are wrong. So number 1, from the body to the heart, false. Leave it. Don't tick or don't cross. Just leave it. 2, the lungs, from the lungs to the body, again false. Leave it. 3, from the heart to the lungs, correct. Tick this one. And the last one, from the heart to the body, tick this one too, because it's also correct. So you just tick number 3 and number 4. B. Name 2 substances that the blood carries to be used by the cells in the body. Of course, we said that the blood carries substances by the cells in the body to be used by the cells in the body. So here we can write down oxygen, number 1, write down oxygen, and number 2, you can write down food, or you can write down nutrients. C. Name 1 substance carried by blood to the lungs so it can be removed from the body. We usually remove something from the body by our lungs, which we call it carbon dioxide or CO2. So you just write down carbon dioxide, and CO2 is also correct, but write down only 1 answer, please. Question 14. Some of the properties of copper are shown in the table. We have a table here. The table contains the properties of copper. Question A. Why is copper used to make electrical wires? Choose from the table. So if you look at the table, why copper is used in making wires. First one, good conductor of electricity. Yes, this one is the right answer. You just copy it and write it here for question A, because it's a good conductor of electricity. B. Why is copper used to make cooking pots and pans? Choose the best 2 reasons from the table. Again, you have to go back to the table and you choose two of them. So the right answer for this one, because it's a good conductor of heat, and for the second one we can choose because it has a high melting point, Question 15. Joshi is investigating how much a spring stretches when different masses are added. So we have a spring and different masses are added to the spring to know the way the spring stretches. Okay. A. What could he use to measure how much the spring stretches? It means we need to write down the name of an equipment to measure we need to write down the name of the tool that's used for measuring the spring. Okay, so here you can write down a ruler. B. Before his experiment, Joshi thinks that the spring will stretch more if he adds more masses to the spring. What type of statement is this? Circle the correct answer. So you just circle one of them. Conclusion, measurement, method, prediction. Of course, to know what type of sentence is it, what type of statement is this, we need to look at the sentence and look for words such as think, believe, or let us say predict. If you have these words, then this means that the statement is prediction. So we have the word in the sentence, we have thinks, Joshi thinks. So this word tells you that this is prediction. You just circle prediction. C. When doing his investigation, what must Joshi do to keep himself safe? So here the question means you need to write down something that keeps this person safe while he's doing the investigation. Okay, so you can write down more than one answer actually, but here my answer is he must wear goggles. He must wear goggles, or he must wear spectacles, but you have to write down only one. Okay, so just write down he must wear goggles. Dear students, here we came to the end to the paper. I hope that you have got benefit from the video lesson. If you have like anything not clear with the paper, any question not clear, you can replay the video and watch it again so that you can understand it better. Bye for now.